I'm going to show how to use a refractometer to measure the refractive index of some given compound. This is what the refractometer looks like, but before using it, I'm going to show how to clean it before adding our compound so that there's no contamination. To do that, I'll be using a little bit of ethanol, but methanol could also be used, and a small piece of cotton. And what you want to do is add a few drops of ethanol onto the lower prism, then dab a piece of cotton onto both the lower and upper prisms to dissolve anything that might have been left there. You'll want to dab the cotton rather than rub it in order to not scratch either of the prisms. Then once the ethanol is evaporated, you are ready to add your compound. To add a sample, a pasture pipette should be used, so you can draw a small amount of the liquid up into the pipette and add about 3 to 5 drops of that sample onto the lower prism, making sure not to touch it so that it's not scratched. Then lower the upper prism carefully so that the liquid spreads evenly between the two prisms. Now on the left side of the refractometer there's a small switch, and as you press that down, the light will be turned on, and you can bring the light up to the upper prism so that light will be transmitted through the sample. Then as you look through the eyepiece, you'll see a light and a dark field and an interface between those two fields. But we'll want to make a few adjustments before actually measuring the refractive index. There is a centerpiece dial just above the two prisms, and as you rotate that, you can adjust the clarity or the sharpness of the image. And you don't want to see any blue or red horizontal bands, so that centerpiece dial should be adjusted until there is just a sharp and achromatic interface between the light and dark fields. On the right side of the refractometer, there is another dial, and as you rotate that, you can adjust and move the interface. And as you rotate the dial the other way, the interface will move in the opposite direction. And what you want to do is adjust that right-hand dial until the interface is placed right in between the crosshairs. Once it's there, you are now ready to measure the refractive index. So you'll go back to the switch on the left side and this time hold it down. And as you do so, the values will show up and you can record the refractive index. You want to make sure to hold the switch down because if you let go, then the interface will show up again. While holding the switch down though, you'll want to measure the refractive index with 4 significant figures after the decimal point. So to see a little better, I'm going to zoom in now. And the actual value for the refractive index will be measured by the vertical center line of the crosshairs. So for this compound, the refractive index measured would be 1.3975. Now let's take a look at what would happen if you didn't add enough sample initially to the prisms. It would end up looking something like this, where there wouldn't be a very clear image, and even after adjusting the centerpiece dial, you wouldn't really be able to find a sharp and colorless interface between the light and dark fields. You could still try adjusting the right-hand dial and probably get the interface close to the center of those crosshairs, but you would want to add more sample to make sure that you could see that interface clearly. Then, when you're done measuring your refractive index, you should clean the refractometer using the same technique shown at the beginning of the video so that the next student can use it.